Welcome back. We're doing the second part of the sock tube tutorial today. As you can see, I have put in the toes on both socks and I have actually woven in the ends around the toes as well. So I hope that went well for you. Hope you didn't have any trouble. Now we will talk about putting in the heel. So one thing to mention is that I don't have an afterthought heel pattern myself. I've actually never designed one or anything like that. I just use the ones that are already available. And the most popular afterthought heel tutorial or forethought or anything is the SOS pattern by Susan. Oh my goodness, what is her name? It is Susan. The lady behind Barrett Woolco. I'm so sorry. I will definitely put the information below. Susan Anderson? Is that right? I feel like I don't know. Anyway, her pattern. It's just a tutorial for how to put in afterthought heels, but she also goes through sock knitting techniques and stuff. So it's very worthwhile getting. It's very good. It's very informative, and I do like the way her heel fits. So let's get started. All right, here we go. As you can see, both toes have been put in, and I have marked the spot where I will be putting in my heel. So the way I do that is I do some math, and I figure out the numbers, and then I know exactly where to put in my heel. I can share with you, actually, if you've taken my sock knitting class for toe up socks, then you'll know exactly the math that I'm talking about. If you haven't, then what I do, actually that'll probably look very complicated. So what I do is I figure out my row gauge. So I take my measuring tape and I measure 4 inches, and then I count all the stitches within that 4 inches. Then I divide them by 4. So in my case, I got 11.75 as my row gauge. Now I know my foot is 9 inches, and I times that by 10% so that I get some negative e's in there, and the sock fits nice and tight, and then it equals 0.9. So what I do, and now here is my mistake, because I figured out that my toe is actually 1.5. So this should be 3.5. Sorry. So what I do is I take my foot length, which is 9 inches, and I subtract it from 0.9. And then I subtract it from 3.5. Now, the way I got 3.5, I measured my toe length, which you can see is 1.5 inches. And then I know that the depth of a short row heel is 2 inches in my size, which is 64 stitches. If you're knitting 56 stitches, it's 1.5. And if you're knitting the 72 stitch size, it is 2.5. So I took 2 and 1.5 from my toe, and I added it together for 3.5, and I subtracted it all together. And this number is wrong as well. I'm sorry, I didn't update it. I just did the math. Anyway, you get your number. I can't do that math in my head. I think it was like 4.7 or 8 or something like that it worked out to be. And then I times it by 11.75, which is my row gauge at 1 inch. And I got the number. And that number turned out to be 53. So what I did then is from the tip of the toe, I counted 53 rows. And I marked it. And that is that. I hope you understood that. Let me go over it one more time. So you take your foot length, you subtract 10%, and then you subtract your heel and toe length. That number you times by your row gauge at 1 inch, and that gives you the amount of rows you need before you put in your toe. And again, your depth of short row heel is 1.5 for the small size, 2 for the medium, and 2.5 for the large, and that is everything in inches. So, like I said, I counted from the tip of the toe all the way up, and I marked the spot at 53 rows. What you could do alternatively, if you just use a sock ruler or just measuring tape or anything, is you can just measure so you can figure out exactly where you should put your toe. I mean your heel, my goodness. So yeah. So, let's see if that's accurate then. I like to do everything in inches. Yeah, that's pretty close. 4.25. Yeah, all right. So we do the same thing we did with the toe when we were separating it, but this time we're only removing the stitches along the back of the sock, not all the way around. We're not trying to separate the two. We're just removing the stitches on the back. So what I would recommend doing is picking up stitches above and below where you marked your heel. Yeah. So you're going to pick up the row here, and you're going to pick up the row here. Sorry, here. And then you're going to snip this one. So go ahead and pick up 32 stitches, or if you're working the small, it's 28, and if you're working the large, it's 36. So exactly half. And I will see you in a second. All right, I have gone ahead and I have picked up, sorry, the camera's a little awkward. I have gone ahead and picked up all the stitches I need. I have 2 above and below, and then you can see it, my marker's right in the middle there. So I can go ahead and remove my marker now and snip. There we go. And now you're going to take your tapestry needle or anything you have on hand and pull out those stitches. Just like that. I remembered who the sock pattern is by, or the sock tutorial for the After Dot heel is. It's Susan B. Anderson. And you can find that on Ravelry. I'll put in a link below. But it is called the SOS socks, or it's something SOS. Let's see how we got here to the end. One more. there we go. So that's one end, and now we're going to do the other end. The only problem with the SOS sock pattern is she doesn't tell you how to measure where to put your heel. She just tells you that how to do it. So hopefully all the math I showed you and even just telling you how to measure is helpful. If you still have questions, feel free to reach out and I will try and help you out as best as I can. Okay, there we go. Now we have a nice big gaping hole in the middle of our sock here. So in the pattern, I don't want to give out too much because it is a paid for pattern. You just pick up stitches all the way around with your contrasting yarn and you knit. So she tells you how to pick up stitches here so there's no gap. You'll have these ends to weave in when you're done, and that's it. So yeah, I know some people simply just do another toe for their heel. You can always do that. But yeah, I hope that was instructive and that I still managed to help you out a bit, even though I didn't give you the exact instructions for everything. But yeah, like I said, I'll link all the information down below. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and don't forget to do the same thing for your second sock. All right, bye.